So, Donald Trump is having a rally in Pennsylvania tonight, and it's already off to a pretty terrible start before he's even taken the stage because a number of his supporters have passed out in the crowd. They're having medical emergencies. They're dehydrated. They're suffering heat stroke, and the Trump campaign's not doing anything to help them. It just seems like Trump and his buddies have this really weird history of trying to kill their own supporters, whether it be this rally with heat stroke and dehydration, and they're not doing anything to help their supporters out, or all the way back in 2020 with the pandemic, where Trump told his cultist followers to completely ignore the advice of medical professionals with the pandemic. And subsequently and tragically, a lot of them died as a result. So it just seems like Trump has this strange and storied history of trying to take out his own supporters. But anyway, I digress. We have some reporting here from CBS journalist Seth McFarland, who is at the rally in Pennsylvania this evening, and he posted on social media, quote, "Medical emergencies left and right at the Trump rally here in Butler County, PA. They've offered no shaded areas in the audience, and the small pallets of bottled water aren't sufficient. Several calls of medic, medic, medic amid the crowd." Yeah, no water, no shade, no nothing. They're not giving anybody any help, making sure that they stay safe and healthy at this rally. Like, what are they doing? It's the middle of summer. They're in a field. They're in the middle of a field. It's the middle of summer. And it's incredibly hot, and they may, have older folks attending this rally who would be subjected to these conditions and maybe even suffer, as we talked about, heat stroke and dehydration. They didn't plan for that. They didn't think about that. Instead, they just threw them all out there, and now as a result, people are suffering. They're having heat stroke, they're having dehydration and passing out. We actually have another image here from the same journalist talking about an actual specific instance where more medics were called into a specific person at the rally, and as you can see, there's an officer on site treating somebody. Just awful, awful conditions here at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania. And it's like, how much does Trump and his campaign dislike their supporters to the point that they are not providing enough water? They're not providing shade. They're not taking basic safety measures to make sure that everybody in the crowd is okay, that nobody's passing out, that nothing like that is happening. They're not doing that. Instead, they're just, as I mentioned, throwing them out there and hoping for the best. Trump does not care about his supporters and their well-being. He doesn't. If he did, all of these things would be taken care of, and this stuff wouldn't be happening as a result of a lack of resources. But Donald Trump doesn't care about his supporters. He doesn't at all. He just wants their vote. He wants them to put him back into power so he can continue his weird Project 2025 agenda. It's insanity. So aside from that, also, I want to show you something else from the rally that just really summarizes the Trump campaign. Here's another picture from Scott McFarland of flag troubles taking place at the rally. And if that's not a perfect representation of Trump's campaign and what Trump wants to do, I don't know what is. Just destroy the flag, unravel it, put it into chaos, and obviously destroy democracy and destroy everything that the flag stands for. That is what Trump is. That's what his campaign's all about. That's who he is and what he wants to accomplish. I just thought that visual representation is perfect. I wanted to show you that as well from the rally. But it's also important to note that, the lack of resources at a rally, the lack of care for Trump supporters, people in the crowd, is nothing new with Donald Trump and his campaign. It's nothing new. This has happened before, and they still haven't made the necessary adjustments, such as providing enough water and shade to care about the supporters, make sure that they're okay. So here's another article, this time from June, where Donald Trump had a rally in Arizona, and the headline says, quote, "Extreme heat sends 11 to hospital at Arizona Trump rally." Yeah, the temperatures were around 100 degrees here. He held it in the middle of the day, and many people had to go to the hospital as a result of heat stroke and passing out. The article goes on to say, on Thursday, 2 weeks before summer even officially starts, the National Weather Service, which, by the way, Project 2025 wants to get rid of. Yeah, the National Weather Service, they want to get rid of it. They say that it pushes climate change stuff. I'm not even joking. It's in there. It's insane. Anyway, I digress. Forecast record-breaking temperatures in interior California and parts of Nevada and Arizona. Temperatures were expected to reach 121 Fahrenheit in California's scorching Death Valley during the heat wave. In Phoenix, an excessive heat warning is in place on Friday, with people being asked to limit time outdoors and stay hydrated. Now, of course, when that excessive heat warning was there, Donald Trump was having this rally, and you might be saying, well, you know what? Maybe this is an unfair criticism of Donald Trump. He can't control people passing out. You're right, he can't. But he could do things to stop it. Take a look at your screen right now from that same BBC article. The former president at this rally spoke for 90 minutes before departing for a fundraiser in San Francisco. So Donald Trump could have scheduled that rally to take place later in the evening when temperatures have come down, the sun has set, and people are better off. But he didn't. He didn't, because you know why? He had a glitzy fundraiser in San Francisco with his rich buddies to fund his insurrectionist campaign. He put his campaign, and his campaign finances before the people that he wants to vote for him. These people are passing out because of the heat that he is causing, or at least having the rally in the middle of the day. And he doesn't care. He's off to San Francisco in the evening to raise some money for his campaign. It's just such a disgrace. As I said, how much does Donald Trump dislike his supporters to subject them to these conditions? And if you're going to have the rally in the middle of the day, again, Donald Trump can't control the heat, but if you're going to have the rally in the middle of the day, at least get your supporters some bottles of water, at least provide them some shade. So that's one part of this crazy story. But the second part, and the last thing I want to say, is I just can't fathom, and this is always a thought for me, I cannot fathom that his supporters see stuff like this and they're like, that's my guy. That's who I'm voting for. The guy who subjects his supporters to these conditions and doesn't provide them resources to stay safe. That's my guy. Yeah, he doesn't care about me at all. Doesn't care about my well-being and my safety, but I'm still going to vote for him anyway. How does anybody see that and think that's okay? How does anybody see that and think that's okay? Trump is he's subjecting his supporters to terrible conditions, and they want to make a claim that he cares about average Americans. He cares about us. He's fighting for America. No, he's fighting for himself. If this wasn't yet another example of that, or if people didn't believe that before, this should really hammer that point home. But I don't think it's going to change anything with the MAGA cult. And it's also important to note and important to point out that when President Biden has his rallies, as he's had recently in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin, they're indoors. They're indoors. They're at air-conditioned facilities. Why? Oh, because the Biden campaign actually cares about the American people. They care about the people's well-being. It's indoors. So maybe Donald Trump should switch up the tactic. Maybe he should start caring for his supporters, caring about the people who, he wants to vote for him. But he won't do that because, again, it's all about saving costs so he can fight the legal battles. Anyway, I digress. I just wanted to show you this story really quickly, just bring it to your attention, show that not only has this happened now, but it's happened previously, and Trump has a pretty terrible track record of this stuff. And on top of it, they're not giving them water or shade to make sure that they're safe. So really, really terrible stuff from the Trump campaign, just a complete disregard for people's safety. But that'll wrap it up for this video. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Also, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about all of this. And as I mentioned, I appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.